call it how it is. Hendrix. I promise, I swear, I swear.
Yeah, young Metro, I don't trust you. I'm gonna shoot you.
Yo, Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet, Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet, rep the set, yeah. Gotta rep the set, yeah. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Chase no bitch. Mask on, fuck it, mask on. Mask on, fuck it, mask on. Percocet, Miley Percocet. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Chase no bitch. 2 cups, toast out with the game. From food stamps to a whole nother domain. Out the bottom, I'm a living proof. Ain't compromising, $500,000 on the coupe. Drug houses, looking like Peru. Graduated, I was overdue. Pink Molly, I can barely move. Ask about me, I'm gon' bust a move. Red James, 33 chains. Ocean now, cruising Biscayne. Top off, that's a liability. Hit the gas, boosting my adrenaline. Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, rep the set, gotta rep the set. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Mask on, fuck it, mask on. Mask on, fuck it, mask on. Percocet, Miley Percocet, chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Chase no bitches. Photo maybe, I drive anything. Buy my range, make them go insane.
DJ Eskimo City.
I got a halo. I level up every time God says so. Shoot on payroll. Looking like Pancho, looking like Pedro. When the street from Tarzan. 10 dividend go grow when I say grow. Kung Fu Kenny with the Midas touch. Ain't no penny that I don't touch. All my enemy bite on dust. Ain't no talking when it's fatal. Having hard, I can't tell. Wait. Half of y'all might need help. Wait. I might fall in Rodale. Bitch. I might ball and not straight. Say no more. I might call her for real. Say no more. All I ask go unveil. Wind blows in the windows and I snuck in with a Vic glow. She got me like.
All right, what's up, y'all? How we doing? How we feeling? Happy Monday. Another week that we're about to get. It's going to be an amazing week. It's always an amazing week. My recommendation for everyone here today is bring some good attitude. Whatever happened last week, good, bad, ugly, it's a fresh week. It's a fresh day. My name is Mike Navarrete. For those of you that may not know me, maybe you're here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, welcome. We have a pretty good vibe on these streams. The chat's always useful. Just always contributing as well. If you're not in our free community, feel free to check that out. That link will be in the description, I believe. But yeah, I've been doing this for about 10 years. It's been awesome, honestly. I've been live streaming trading for just about 8 years. Most of that time under a paywall, but now it's here. It's for free, and why not? Why not spend some quality time with you guys? What we do here is we do look at quite a bit. So we're looking at indices for the most part. A lot of action goes on in indices, usually NQ or Dow Jones. We'll take a look at some majors, metals, energies, and then a little bit of crypto and stocks in between, some things here and there for the portfolios, of course. I go mostly through futures, but if you are trading CFDs and you have any questions, let us know. But yeah, let's dive in. More than anything, just remember the key things, guys, before we kick this off is just be process oriented. I know we all want to make money. Obviously, that's why we're here. But as long as we're doing the right things, then over time, it'll start to add up. All right. So what I trade in front of you, so what you'll see on screen when I'm executing orders, I'm just trading my 5 accounts on Tradetopia in front of you guys. And then everything else is running in the back end. But yeah, that's what we're going to be going through today. So just so you guys kind of are up to date with everything. And then some of you are probably noticing a change in contracts. So throughout the next 24 hours or so, you're going to start to see a lot more volume flip into a different contract. So I want to make sure you guys are also up to date with all of that. So let me actually, I don't know why I didn't save over here. But yeah, I'll be looking at the H contracts here across the board with NQ, YM, and ES. So let me get that pulled up here, and then we'll be good to go. But talk to me, guys. How we feeling? How we doing? How's life? What are we looking forward to this week? We got, I think, 12 trading days left, including this one. So what are we going to make the most out of? And then, yeah, let me know. What are you grateful for? What kind of gratitude we got in here today? What kind of energy we got in here today? All right. Here we go. And just about ready. And then I'll dive into the chart here, into the chat here with y'all in a second. All right, here's the chat. I see we have, what up, Patrick, Alfredo, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos? Brandon, Jess, Za, Amy. I know a lot of you guys are so close to getting a payout, getting a withdrawal, getting funded. Let's make it happen here. What's up, Emil Carr? Mr. Joe, Seth, Ruben, Steve, Greg. Happy Money's Day. I love it. Let's go. Edgar, Diego, Harshi. So you got Kevin here. Brandon, Sergio, Jonathan. Hey, shout out Jonathan. On Friday, Jonathan won a giveaway for a funded account. So I love to see it. Maria Lisa, happy Monday. What's up, Canzada? Juan. Amazing. Paul Song, good to see you here. It is cold. That is true. More coffee. Get after it, guys. All right, let's dive in here. Good morning, fam. Did you ever make another part of the switch from CFDs to futures video? No, I didn't. That's on me. We'll get there. Still vibing from yesterday's syndicate? Yeah. It was a good session yesterday. We had a really good session yesterday. What's up, Taylor? Refreshed and renewed. Ooh, I love that. All right, let's get into it. Y'all don't want to just look at me. Y'all want to see the charts. Let's look at the charts. Obviously I'm incredibly handsome, but we know what we're really here for. Here's what we're all really here for. All right, so another day we're breathing. Absolutely. Okay, so let's take a quick look, and then also just for just to make sure you guys know that we're trading what we're trading over here. I'm also gonna just make sure you guys can see this. Let me refresh this. One second. Okay, awesome, fantastic. All right, just so you guys can see, obviously we're trading our live accounts. These not too far from the next payout. So just so you guys are, we're 100 on these, just for transparency. I know don't always have the most transparent traders in the world. But yeah, so if you guys didn't notice, on the bottom left, we're working with 5 accounts here. These are currently floating about, these alone, maybe like, I don't know. I don't want to do the math. But anyways, let's dive into it, guys. Let's go look at some setups. Let's go see what the market brings us. So if you happen to be trading your live account, like your own personal account, whether it's futures, CFDs, or you're trading CFD accounts that you can kind of just roll over into the next week, we did take profit on our Dow Jones buy from Friday. So if you happen to hold this, roll it over, we did take an entry on Dow right in this order block as everything else was aligning there. So that was pretty nice to see. This kind of finally make its way there, and it was for a 3R. So if you guys kind of held that through, then you did get to make, kind of get the most out of this. This just tapped this like just now. So pretty cool. For me on my accounts, basically the Tradefy accounts, I hit my max on the day right around here. And then for my other accounts, I ended up having to take profit like over here somewhere. So not as much as I would have wanted, but it is what it is. Now, going into this week with indices, remember, guys, we have a busy week. Like, this is going to be a week. So I will be live early on Tuesday and Thursday. So tomorrow I'll be live around 7:15 a.m. Central, so 15 minutes before the news events. And there are many. So I'll be live at that point. And then Wednesday at our usual time, like we're live here. Thursday, again, live early for CPI. And Friday, normal times. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, normal times. Tomorrow and Thursday, we'll be live early to take advantage of these high impact news events and things of that nature. So, yeah. All right. Anyways, we got a lot going on here. So let's start things off with indices, and then we'll dive into everything else. One idea that I'm looking at here, which looks very clean with the Z contract, and they look pretty much the same, is that NASDAQ had a nice little push before everything drops, leaving an imbalance, and then also creating bearish structure. So we saw on Friday, the market ends up trading below this low right here, and is just maintaining, has been trading below here all of Friday, all of Asian and London session, and we're kind of working our way back. So I do like the idea of selling NASDAQ from up here. I think this could be a great selling opportunity. We'll see if we get there today. It might just not happen. And the reason, right, I'm looking for this is we had one last push to the upside, clearing a little bit of liquidity before we drop, creating this imbalance, this inefficiency. The market loves to rebalance these things, come back to these areas before reversing again. And then mainly because of the lower low that we're seeing right here, and the fact that we've stayed down here for a decent amount of time, this gives me a good confirmation that our structure does remain bearish, at least for the time being. We may be working our way down to this 1 hour structure we have over here, whether it's this last push over here or maybe it's all the way at the bottom. But there's some possibilities here. NASDAQ definitely is a lot more bearish than Dow Jones. So sells make a bit more sense at the moment with NQ than they do with YM. All right. So just placing alerts here, so we're ready to strike when the time comes. And then, as always, in our community here, in our free community, and you guys are always going to see like free resources with the QR codes that are kind of just like going through here at the bottom. So definitely feel free to take advantage of that. And in our free community, this is where I'm dropping all the setups basically every single day. All right, so NQ here is, no, that's not it. All right, here we go. All right, so dropping this in here as we kick things off. Okay. Now, zooming in, smaller time frame stuff, can we have other setups, other ideas? Well, there is this big drop here to kick off the week. So we do have a nice sell, and then the market starts to rally. However, we have the same thing across the board. Like all of the indices basically have the same type of movement. And I want to show you guys the difference that it looks with Dow, because Dow is what, in my opinion, has the best buy setup right now. So we start to drop, basically in here. So you see the huge push down and then the reversal. So the reason I like this buy on Dow better than I like it with NQ is only because we have worked our way up more. So for now, it seems like, and maybe it'll change, but it seems like we're a bit more bullish with NQ than we are with YM than we are with NASDAQ. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to price action, real time. How does the market get down to here? So, for example, if all of a sudden Dow starts to crash very quickly and it gets to the zone before NASDAQ gets to the exact same area, then, I'll take it with NQ. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep my eyes open. You guys know this. We respond to what the market shows us in real time and nothing else. Like, that's really what matters the most. So that's what we're going to do here. I know maybe some of you would be wanting to short our Dow here. You have Dow Jones kind of make a huge bullish move before everything drops. Same thing up here. But at the moment, considering how much more bearish NASDAQ is, and I just feel like there's much more incentive for price to go all the way up to here, I'm going to stay out of shorts with Dow to start things off. But what I want to know from you guys, is what kind of setups are you looking for? What's on your mind here? What do we have here? What are we thinking about? Obviously, we have indices here in about a minute. That's going to kick things off. But I know we got oil traders. Some of you are a gold specialist, etc. So let me know. Grateful to make my own decisions, have full control over my life. Absolutely grateful for life, for the fam, health. Me gusta más el retroceso que viene dando oro. El NQI hizo un impulso antes de apertura. Okay. Same thing on indices. All right, so we're on the same page. Cool. Okay, so it's off to a start here. We got New York open. Let's see it go down. NQ working its way down off the rip. So is Dow. All right, great. And one of the things we can do as well, just so you can kind of get a good look on the movement, is to see how big the impulse is. So you can use the fib tool to see how aggressively they're dropping. Looks like Dow actually is dropping a bit more than we're seeing NQ drop over here. And something I need to do here also, I need to add the micro contracts. The new micro contracts on here. So give me a sec. Yes. All right. I don't really ever trade S&P, so I don't really know how much of a difference that's going to make, but all right. So we're over here, and got this over here, and we got this over here. All right. All right, cool. So these are good to go. Perfect. Beautiful. All right, so the pullbacks, the drops are not too aggressive quite yet. All right, cool. So while that's happening, while we have that continuing to print, letting it do its thing, let's go take a look at gold. Let's go take a look at silver, see what's going on here. Now, we got pretty close last week from these gold shorts. Now, I was looking for sells based off of our higher time frames over here. We've been waiting for this since, I think it was October 20th. Yeah, look at this right here. October 20th, big sweep to the upside before it just starts to drop. We haven't quite made it over to here, so I am looking forward to selling up here, taking out the Friday's New York highs and today's price action. So I'm pretty patient with this. Maybe some of you already traded this, but and I could see why. You see a sweep to the upside before everything drops in here. However, when the market sweeps liquidity here for gold and doesn't maintain structure, So you see how it takes out the lows, but then just comes right back up? That to me is a sign that the market's actually bullish, that this was a false break. This was only to liquidate and then to reaccumulate. So I'm actually looking at this as a buy and not for a sell, at least from this area down here. We see a pretty big move down, and then the market starts to move on up. So looking for buys in this zone makes sense to me, and we're not too far from it. So let's take a look at this, and if we zoom in a little bit more, we start to see the market on Friday, right, start to just drop, absolutely tank down to here. This takes out a bunch of liquidity, and then the market from here rallies, chops up a little bit, actually creates what it looks like to me as a bit more liquidity, pushes up, and then just chops, just choppy movement all across the board. So I don't think we've mitigated this. This was mostly building up liquidity before continuing to the upside. So this to me looks pretty solid. Now, one of the only downsides is that we didn't make a higher high over here. So we didn't go and create higher highs. So it's not my favorite for that reason. Had it made higher highs, I'd be a lot more interested. But we did see, right, on the smaller time frames, we do get that shift in structure. So like the 5-minute goes bullish, but the 1 hour or the 15-minute does not. So this is gold on the 15. We could take a look at silver as well. We see both of these just absolutely start to drop. Silver, similar. It plays out of this last sell-off and then ripped. So mitigated this last sell here. Clears these lows. The market doesn't really trade down here for too long before now rallying. So let's just keep an eye out on how the market moves its way down. Gold and silver. Let's see what kind of price action we're getting here. If we work our way down to here with gold, and let's say silver is just moving even more aggressively, then I'm open to taking a position with gold. Back down in these levels. So maybe a half R risk. Silver sell. Where exactly are you looking for silver sells? Let me post this real quick. Today's setups for NQ, and then let me throw YM in there as well. All right. Oh, all right. Things are turning up over here. All right, so take a look at this, guys. Now we're starting to see indices drop a bit more aggressively. Nasdaq dropping pretty well. So is Dow. Dow actually more aggressive. So it looks like Dow's probably going to make it to this level here first. I won't trade what gets to the zone first, right? I'm going to trade what gets here last. So I'm looking for NQ for buys as well. It looks like it's struggling to push down at the same speed. So typically whatever is struggling to drop is the one that's going to hold better. Like it's going to hold bullish structure significantly better. So just going to be patient on letting this one through. So these are longs. These are shorts. If you have setups, go ahead. Feel free to share them in this thread right there. Let's go, Joe. No me gusta la estructura aquí, como que no se mantiene y solo recupera rápido en vez de mantener bajos más bajos. Entonces no me encanta esta venta de libra dólar. All right, so take a look. NQ already just cleared out a lot of some of this London session consolidation and then eating it right back up. So it looks like NQ is just kind of just struggling to work its way down. Dow, first mover for sure. Deeper retracement. Looks like it did mitigate this order block over here, pushing this down. So, and now this is just creating more liquidity. This, to me, I feel like this is just going to be more of an enticement. Like, people are going to chase these buys, and then hearts will be broken here. I think this makes another push down. I don't have an entry for that, but it's what it looks like. I mean, we kind of take out London session highs here, and then, we move on up. So maybe the market works its way back up here and then sells off. But this is a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of buyers right now, right here. For sure. So, all right, we'll keep an eye on that. Now, someone asked about silver sell. So maybe you're referring to this. So we had a lot of sideways movement here with silver. Silver clears the highs, drops one more order block, and then really sells off. So you kind of have this area here for shorts. And this is Friday's price action, right? New York open, etc. So really, like, this is kind of the reversal zone. We just missed this earlier today. If you look at gold already traded out of this. Silver lagging behind a bit. Looking at structure, we had silver break below here, trade through here all of Friday's session, maintain this during Asian session, and it wasn't until basically going into London session that we started to trade deeper into the imbalance. So I could see it. I could see the short on silver here. It's taken its time. It's maintained structure pretty well. There's more liquidity down here. So I'm open to taking a position here with silver, especially if we get to here and gold's already, let's say, more bullish. I'm definitely open to it. All right, right back down it is here with Dow, S&P, and NQ now. Ooh, all right. Now we're starting to see more momentum. Okay. All right. NQ sitting around that 38.2, kind of going back and forth. Dow is very similar. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go split screen. That way it's pretty easy for us to just keep an eye out on what typically has, it's typically one of these two. So let's keep our eyes out on here. All right. So here's what I'm going to do while we're figuring this out, while we're just waiting, right? While we're waiting, I'll have, give me a second. Let me make sure I'm logged in on TradingView here. Trading panel. All right, we're good to go now. Perfect. So I'm going to set these up so that if the market gets to these levels, whichever one it does, we're ready for it. Contracts are just set in stone. So what I would want to do here for this trade specifically, for example, like let's say we're going to take Dow. And I'm going to take Dow, let's just say like here. Then I want to have my contract set. I just know, I know what I'm dealing with, you know what I mean? So, all right, 19 contracts would be if I was going to trade Dow. Great. So I have that there. And then we can go take a look at NQ. If NQ is what gives us the idea for the trade, then we can take this here as well. NQ, I'm going to set my idea potentially like right around here. Yeah, trading right. We've seen some decent support over here, so I'm open to buying in this zone. And then we saw a nice little dip before a continuation. I'd tighten this up a little bit. Just give me a little better RR. See where we can get to here. So something like this, creating a limit order. And then now I'm ready to roll. So a little under $500 risk here. 4 micros on NQ. If it's Dow, it's going to be about 19. And then right now, if you're noticing now NASDAQ is starting to drop a little bit more. Really don't know until we get down to here. But we'll see. We'll see. Dow, it looks like looking more and more like our potential play now. Holding up above 38.2, while NQ over here is trading below 38.2 now. So that's giving us signs that NASDAQ is a bit more of the bear in this example here. Okay, we're also looking at oil from last week. Oil buys didn't quite hit my take profit, which honestly ended up working out. I ended up taking profit on this early since the day just ended. So it ended up working out anyways. So this has already been mitigated. Nothing extra that we can do here. There's possible shorts right here. I'm sure some of you here noticed this. So we got possible sells over here later, especially if we break below and maintain these lows, then definitely that's going to be the case. Okay, look at this. NQ now, much more bearish. Is this making sense, guys? Like, are you understanding, like, can you understand the divergence and correlation a little bit better now? Seeing how we're, let's say, NASDAQ's almost getting to this 50% retracement, while Dow is, you know, right here at that 38.2 still. They're pretty close, so, I mean, things can still change. But at least as of right now, if I were to guess, it looks like Dow is holding up just a little bit better. But it's pretty close, though. It's pretty close. All right. What cause? So, okay, the what doesn't really matter as much, right? The what doesn't really matter as much. It's always an excuse. So you have to kind of accept the mystery of the markets. There is an orchestration happening behind the scenes of how positions are moved, when they're moved. But as we've seen, as it's been proven, the biggest players in the game, they're in on it together. Like, they get fined every year billions of dollars because they're doing whatever they want. It's just a massive orchestration. So don't get too caught up. Oh, what caused this? What's the news event? Could I have predicted it? That doesn't really matter. Because the way that you've learned, like the way I'm teaching you guys how to process this information, you already know where the big orders are going to come in for the most part. There's a really good probability that big money comes in at specific orders. And we've taught you how to see those. So focus on that. Yes, there's high impact news. There's New York Open. There's tomorrow. There's going to be, a whole bunch of things going on. But don't get too caught up on like, oh, did I miss the news event? Did I miss, Trump speaking or doing anything or saying anything? Now, one thing that is pretty good news across the board, just like assets wise, is that it looks like we're going to get quantitative easing from the Federal Reserve. So I'll talk more about that later. But basically, the printer turns on. The money printer turns on, and that generally is good for assets short term, and not even short term, probably a good year, maybe even 18 months or so. And then later we have to deal with the consequences of that, which typically means inflation and all that other things that suck for most people. Well, for everybody. But yeah. So anyways, so look at how things are now. Dow, 50% pullback. So Dow is starting to pull, aggressive. It's starting to drop. If we see Dow drop into the zone, then now we're going to be taking NQ as the trade. So it's kind of going back and forth. These are the ones where it gets a little tricky. So that's why we want to keep our eyes on this. We want to keep, and if at the end of the day you're like, I don't know which one to take, then what you do is you could split your risk. That's always an option as well. You could just split your risk. Okay. So for now, let's see. Why is this being weird? All right, that's better. Making sure I'm ready here across the board. Why am I getting logged out of my Top Step accounts? That's annoying. All right, so look, Dow is dropping first. Now we're getting very clear signs, guys. Very clear signs. Dow is going down to that 618 first, rallying first. So we're getting pretty good idea. It looks like NQ is going to be what we're trading today. Okay. Look at how we're now right at that 618 and NQ is still holding up at that 50% level. It's good. So for now, this is what it's looking better. It's looking like we're leaning more towards NASDAQ now. Look at that. Dow dropping more aggressively, NQ holding up really well. Okay, cool. S&P is usually somewhere in between. Fantastic. So we got to stay sharp because these indices, sometimes it's nice and easy. It's like not really, it's not going back and forth. It's just pretty straightforward. Sometimes they're choppy. And then all of a sudden you have to make a switch in, you know, what you're going to trade in the last second. So, but for now, it's looking like NQ is going to be the one. So for me, my entry is looking like right around 25,455. All right, 25,455. Dow is about to tap into the zone. Now, the prices might be different on your Top Step if you're trading Top Step only right now, because I think Top Step has the Z contract still. So that would be why you may see it the way that you see it. All right, so I'm starting to put my limits on now since Dow is clearly dropping a bit more aggressively. So I'm setting my limits here. There you go. So look at that. Dow's in there. Got my stop set in stone. Okay. All right, so look at the retracement. We got big retracement already on Dow here, just about that 786 in the zone already. NASDAQ not quite there yet, so it's just working its way further and further down. Interesting. So this is playing out. All right, NQ almost at a 618 pullback. Getting closer and closer. I'm not in yet. Here is the order for me. So playing right into it. Let's see. Obviously, it would be nice if it triggers. Clearing this liquidity makes the most sense. Why is this happening? All right, here we go. All right, perfect. So we're just about getting ready to close below this. Now, one thing that's interesting is look at how Dow just started holding this pretty well. It's like holding this up really well. Even though it's deeper retracement, it's starting to hold this structure pretty well. Hopefully that doesn't throw off our trade here. Meanwhile, we have NQ. Dude, what is going on? I'm getting logged out everywhere here. Little bounce out of this area. This right here was from earlier that London opened, so it's getting a little mitigation. Not too surprising. Okay. All right. Perfect. So I'm ready to roll there. Limits are set. There is at least no FOMO from my end. I'm very much just under the, I just follow what I follow. The system is set in stone. I'm not here to get in the way of it. So we're good to go there. Got $500 risk across the board with all the accounts. So that puts it at a total of, times that by 20. And then, why are we wait? I'm waiting on NAS. Specifically, I'm waiting on NAS. Dow's already in the zone, so it got here faster. I think it's more vulnerable to breaking below, which is why I think NASDAQ has a better chance at playing out. It just has more space. If it retraces deeper, it has a better chance of staying within the stop, whereas Dow could briefly break below this, which I'm kind of expecting it to. There's S&P now getting to the zone as well. Okay. How many accounts do you trade at one time? About 20? What do I trade the most and why? I trade indices the most, for sure. The most volatile, we have the most frequent setups, at least in my type of setups. They just happen basically every day. So that's why I take that the most often. Mike, which program do you recommend in Tradefy? It kind of is based off of where you're at. I think for most people, doing the select or the growth, the daily profit is pretty cool. There's just different rules. I don't think there's a bad one to do. The only account I say you want to be more of a mature, experienced trader is with the instant funded accounts. It's cool because you get straight to the point, but the downside is that, obviously it costs more. So if you're still kind of figuring yourself out as a trader, I think you do have a better, you may want to spend less as you're testing your skills and figuring out how good you get. But yeah, if you guys are going to get a Tradefy account, obviously you can use the code MAGO and you guys will get a pretty good discount. And then, all those commissions go back to giving you guys giveaway accounts. So, everybody wins. You get discount, you get giveaways. It's looking legit. ES is looking like the lagger. Is that so? I'd say it's pretty squared up right now. 618 from both. 786 there. Getting pretty close to getting triggered in here with NQ. Let's see, we're about 20 points away, at least for me so far. It looks like we could trade out of this order block right here. I think there's a decent chance of that. Yeah, we're right around almost like that 70% pullback right there. Yeah. Oh, you're right. S&P is lagging a little bit. There's a better shot at S&P at least right now. Or they're pretty close. So if you want to go S&P, totally can see that. Now, some of you might be pulling the trigger early, or not even early. It just might be the time for you to do that. If that's you, go ahead. I wanted a better risk reward, so I'm not taking a position right away. But yeah, the market might want to reverse off the open of this. This is kind of like, here's like your bearish candle. Here's where we have some sells before the market then rallies again. So reversals out of here are common and likely. I just wanted a deeper entry for the sake of a better risk reward as well. We'll see. Hopefully it wants to drop back down and get me in there. We'll see. Christmas giveaway. Hey man, it's very much possible. Split your risk with NQ and S&P. Yeah, go for it. I think that's a responsible move for sure. Just make sure you can, handle managing multiple positions with multiple assets. But other than that, yeah, I'm with it. Come on now. Don't go flying without us yet. Get us in there. Let us in. Anyone already take your position? Anyone in earlier? Maybe you took your trade like right out of the open. You prefer, you're like, you know what? I want to make sure I'm in, and I got in as soon as it came down to this order block. Let me know. Typically, I like to wait a little longer. Oftentimes, we get either really deep retracements with one of the assets, or it even breaks the structure with one of them. So I'm always relatively open to kind of, holding off and letting the market come to us there. All right. So the good thing is Dow is definitely not going to be the one, at least for me. That's pretty clear at this point. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Here we go. All right. So it looks like I'm about to get there. I'm in there. So I'm triggered in now. Got my stops set in stone. Beautiful. All right, so that's what we got going on here. Floating around entry. Nothing crazy yet. We might go into some drawdown. That's kind of expected. We kind of understand that. My goal is to have a good enough entry, not the perfect exact entry per se. So that's fine with me. It does look like S&P is just slightly a better moving a little bit better. So look at this. It's starting to kind of bounce. The retracement's a bit heavy. Okay, so I get that for now. So, yeah, my stop is at the bottom. It's at the low, actually. So it's right at the low. About sitting right at around entry still here. And so right now I'm open across the board. And just to make sure you guys are with me here, just, for transparency purposes, you guys can see, right? Entries are set. Entry stops, everything's good to go, just so you guys have it there. All right, we're getting some pretty good rejection right now. All right, so now, more importantly, we want to look at what does it take to go break even? How am I going to manage my stop? So managing my stop with this position, the drop was around 112, 13 points or so. So I definitely want to see a reversal of that capacity at least. So kind of trading back into this order block. So I want to see something like that for me to start to tighten up my stops and all that good stuff. That's what I want to get to. So seeing the market reject, that same amount would be key. Once we start to get just even 100-point rejection, typically at that point you're pretty set with management. So I'm cool with that. And then also in terms of deciding the right asset class, look at how Dow is still pushing lower while NQ is starting to soak these buyers up, right? This is starting to sustain itself pretty well. I wouldn't be surprised if we poke below here. Maybe we even get back into a little bit of drawdown and then this all just goes together. But we definitely did choose the right asset for now. And even now, NQ is just slightly pushing. These are very, very close to one another. So I feel good about our choice overall. All right, we're set. All right, so we got, here we go. Got that there. All right, look, there goes Dow. Looks like it's going to push towards this low. That's cool. And remember, guys, there's no guarantee, so please make sure your risk is exactly what it needs to be. Don't go making, you know, crazy decisions. Don't marry the trade. This trade could lose, and if it loses, that's okay, right? That's okay. That's why we set the risk in the first place. You don't set the risk just to change it later, all right? So just let the market do its thing, all right? Be cool. Be smooth. You have to be a good loser in order to win long term, all right? So if this stops us out, it's not a big deal. That's totally okay. All right, so now Dow has broken below these lows. Fantastic. From here, now that it's liquidated Asian lows, honestly, we even could have waited till this moment for an entry. I'm sure some of you actually did because you're savages and you're beasts. So now that Dow cleared out the weekly low and Tokyo low, it can absorb, you know, these positions, and then that might be what we need for just an overall reversal for the market and a decent continuation. So let's see if that's the case. Would be cool. Let's see where S&P is at as well. S&P tapped at 886. Okay, I don't know if it's going to push as low as Dow did. I don't know if it needs to. But let's see. A little bit of drawdown. Here you go, so you guys can see that. Drawdown's there. Nothing changes. Ooh, Dow soaking it up. Look at that. Pew. Gone. All right. This is good stuff. Now, again, the reversal that we're looking for, right? We want the market to mitigate so we can see the market come back, at least, you know, breaking out of here. I am going to reduce my stop to here once we push a little bit further. So my stop will go to here. I want to see us go bullish a little bit further out, though. So let's see. Especially if we can sustain this, even better. Right now, looking at the position, we're about 30 points in profit, 25. So nothing too crazy, about a half hour in profit for now. I think we can get up to this little spike up here. That would be the best case scenario. More conservative exits would be to trade within this little order block right here. It would be closer to like a 1-to-1. And I don't typically take exits there. Not that it's a bad thing, but just, you know, it's just not really what I do. You know what? We kind of already played out of here. Interesting. We'll see. I'm open to different things here. All right. I do think we have further that we can bounce. Dow is starting to pick up more momentum now. After it cleared this, it is starting to push and kind of maintain better, unfortunately. So let's see. We're still in profit. Not a whole bunch. All right, now we're sitting back at around entry. Okay. Story continues here. Good bounce. Nice. All right, so look at this one in the small time frames. So we cleared past the lows, and then now this is really starting to rally. If you're looking at the 1 minute, Dow is starting to push a bit more aggressively. After it cleared the lows, it looks like Dow has a bit more of that bullish momentum. It's breaking above this while NQ still quite hasn't. So I am going to have a more conservative exit with NASDAQ now that I'm seeing that Dow ends up having a lot more of that bullish momentum. And then now the question becomes, well, where could let's say, where does the market want to go? All right, let's zoom out a little bit. Where does the market really want to go today? Depending on what, how well price action maintains here, this kind of looks like an accumulation, and that it could, end up resulting back up into, these areas. I could see it. It really is going to come down to like how well we is price going to just keep trading down here? Do we not really have tons of bullish momentum? If it builds structure and demand down here, then it is what it is. Like, it's just not, it just doesn't have enough momentum. And then we can't marry the initial exit, which would be, going for, a big move or anything like that if we don't get the proof. So we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. As of now, everything stays the same. I haven't changed my stop. My stop is still a full 1R, just a full risk. And we haven't mitigated yet or anything, so that stays the same. So for now, yeah, I don't change anything. You guys can, obviously do this in whichever way that you feel like. Manage this in whatever makes more sense to you. Looks like this froze. All right, and we're back. So we're back. Cool. How's it going, guys? Yeah, I don't know. Something happened with our Wi-Fi. Anyways, we are kind of back down to these levels, still in drawdown. Honestly, it's kind of trading down here a little bit longer than it typically would to get a good reversal. So I am considering not getting out early because I just want to let the trade play out. But depending on how this continues, if I get the chance and if this does decide to want to go our way again, then I might have a more conservative exit than taking a 3R over here. We'll just kind of see. But then, of course, that's if this thing is going to give us a chance. Dow is back below. One more time over here. Let's see where S&P is at. S&P also 886 pullbacks, so deep reversals we're getting time and time again. NQ on the small time frame broke below the previous move that we had. So we just took these out. Did it need to, attract more buyers one last time before it ran? Maybe. Maybe that's the case. So either way, I'm still in this. NQ a bit more bullish relative to, obviously, relative to Dow Jones, and then relative to S&P by a little bit, just by a smidge. But yeah, let's see. At this point, one of the things that I love to ask you guys about is, how do you feel about your drawdown? Are you nervous? Or are you good, cool, calm, collected, composure? Because the reason I ask is so that you start to, when you have a acknowledgement, when you have the awareness on what drawdown is doing to you, like psychologically, neurologically, you can start to make changes to your overall system. So this might be a moment where you realize, okay, I think I'm risking too much, because even a little bit of drawdown is kind of throwing me off my game. All right, so I want to make sure I'm screen sharing here. I also believe it's important, you guys. If this loses, I want you guys to see it, happen. But I want you to understand that, because sometimes we put so much pressure on each trading having to be a winner, or like you think, yeah, no, I'm cool with losing, and you might be good with losing this one. But what if this happened 3 times in a row? Are you able to continue to do exactly what you need to do? Are you able to do that time and time again? So just some reminders. That way you can, like, in the moment realize, yeah, I think I'm doing too much. Or you're like, wow, I'm chilling. And that's good. It's like, all right, I'm cool. Even if this plays out, if it doesn't, that's cool. Like, I already know, we're not here to trade like one one thing doesn't change everything, right? It's all right. It's they add up. They just add up over time. And that's what matters. Okay. All right. So this is playing with some feelings, right? All right. Here we go. Here we go. I'll set there. All right. So now that we've seen a bit of, we've been trading down here for the last, 10 minutes or so? Longer? Yeah, just about 15. Below this low? Yeah, we'll say, 15 minutes. At this point is where the more important thing is going to be the exit. Like, let's say it does happen to reverse and it goes our way. How far do you want to see this go? What are you willing to take this to? And as I'm just continuing to have more and more perspective with this, it is going to depend on how aggressively we work our way higher here. And now at this point, the mitigation is basically just breaking out of the zone. If it just gets back out of here, it's going to be pretty bare minimum. So trading within the range is what has probably the best exit probability, because at the end of the day, you can have awesome entries, but if your exits are not up to par, then it doesn't really matter if you even got into the market well, if you don't know when to get out. So I think if this does happen to go our way after such a deep pullback, which is possible, I'm liking an exit around structure here, 25,585. If this is going to be the case, we're pretty close. Maybe you have like 15 points of drawdown left. So this might end up just stopping us out. And honestly, looking at this again, I understand why. This could probably stop us out. So I wasn't really thinking too much on the 15-minute, but looking at this from the 15-minute perspective, this broke out and then lost all the momentum. This happened right before New York Open. So this is giving us signs that the 15-minute is not bullish. Like, this is like, yeah, we're kind of done with this. And then it turned right back around. This is right before New York Open. So I really didn't think about, for some reason, it didn't really like hit me. I was more so focused on this structure, the 5-minute, etc. But the 15 here is definitely showing us signs that, we only came all the way up to here because we wanted to liquidate orders before we continue to work our way back down. So now, keeping this in mind, I'm not that surprised. I'm really not that surprised about this idea. So if I got to take an L on the chin, I got to take an L on the chin. That's okay. And if it doesn't, and it rips, then cool. I wouldn't say got away with it, but I understand that the higher time frame, this intention up here was not to create higher highs. This right here, cool. Within the day, yeah. But up here, not so much. All right. Let's see if we escape the wrath of the stop loss today. Going into small time frames here. What I think we have a decent probability of is at least breaking out of... hold on, here we go. Maybe we can get above all of this. Maybe. Sweep some of this. But here's kind of, we have a decent push. So trading up to here, maybe. But we have what? What stop left? 10 points? It's pretty close. All right, here you go. I want you guys to see if it gets stopped out. Right there. Pretty damn close here. Holding on for dear life, folks. Bon voyage. Okay, so officially starting off the week with the nice, beautiful L. Would be really funny if we bounce out of here. Would be actually lame if that's what happens. And S&P plays out. Because S&P technically, yeah, ended up being just a little bit lagging, just a little bit less, sticking within the structure. So if we were to have traded S&P, technically we would have still been in by a hair, just a hair. And that's sometimes all it needs. So technically, if we wanted, we could take this trade. At this point now, the most valid trade was S&P. So, you know, I'm not going to. I already took my loss on the overall asset class, so I'm not going to go and go for that or anything. But right now it would have lost. Great. And then I'm here just double checking everything else. All right, everything looking good. All right, and then here is just to make sure you guys see right here the losses. Took the L's. Okay. All right, so now we can move on. And there's another way that this could, you know, we have another perspective out of this. So let me go ahead and show you guys. So now what we saw was we just cleared the lows. So we've now cleared the lows for, here we go. Of course, now it wants to reverse. But now we cleared for the week, right? So we cleared Sunday's lows here with NASDAQ, traded right into, let's see, below or not? Let me see. We did clear the previous low as well. By a little bit, but we did clear it. Just by a couple hairs. So, okay. Now that we're seeing it sweep the low of the week, we can take a look at this with, you know, S&P clears the low of the week, trading into here. And then you have Dow that went and cleared some of this New York session lows. Not New York session lows completely, but some of it. So now we are clearing session lows, etc. If we do happen to, let's say, reverse out of here pretty strongly. So I'm going to just delete these. This is getting in my way. All the Z contracts. So you guys just witnessed, just lost like 7,500. All right, so let's say we were to get, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but let's say we clear the rest of these lows. So we get below all of this. If we were to clear the rest of this here, and then we come back in, create some bullish demand, then I could be down for a buy. Something like this could work out. We'll see. We'll stay patient here. And then on top of that, remember, zooming out a little bit more, the Dow is working its way through more of this structure, bigger picture. So when we were on the previous contract, I guess I can pull it up for you guys. You'll see it a little bit easier. But we have this zone over here for Dow. We had a buy still from way down here. So at some point we could work our way down here. That might take some time though. So for now, let's see how we continue. If we're going to sweep lows for last week, Friday's New York session lows, and if things turn around, this could be a liquidity capture, and then we kind of see a shift in momentum. If that's the case, maybe there's something to do here. Otherwise, we'll just kind of keep our eyes peeled there. Moving on from indices, we'll just check in with that in a little bit. There's nothing too time sensitive anymore. Gold has been working its way down, but then kind of losing steam. Silver, similar. So nothing quite there yet. Then we got, let's go look at the majors. All right, so we got here. Okay. Australian did mitigate out of this, so this has been completed. And then, yep, let me go back to indices again. All right, now we're starting to clear these lows, guys. So New York session lows by Dow for clearance would be over here. We're getting pretty close. Okay, so that was getting pretty close to clearing that. And then now NASDAQ has fully taken out the lows. You gone. And that's pushing towards some of these areas over here. Here's where we got some reversals before as well. Okay, cool. So there is a chance that Dow clearing New York session lows from Friday. If it clears it, comes right back in, we may have another setup here. Not saying I'm going to stay around for all of this to get into motion, but you know. Okay. All right, that's cleared. Beautiful. S&P lagging behind more than all of these right now. S&P chilling in this little pocket for now. Not quite there. Okay. Yeah, I want to see S&P clear this too. So, would I look for buys right away? And the answer to that is no. I want to see a little bit more. So, here, I want to show you guys something. It's going to here. Hold on. That's not what I wanted to show you. Here's the previous contract. The previous data looks good on here. So if you're looking at S&P, you know, is there a entry here somewhere over in this zone? Not really. Like, I wouldn't say like, oh, we didn't mitigate or we didn't take something out over here. Maybe if we go back to like somewhere over here, maybe there's something. Nah. All right, cool. So it's pretty straightforward right now. If we do end up, you know, sweeping liquidity and then the market just doesn't create any demand, then I'm game. So like YM, right? Clears the lows. Clears these lows. Perfect. If this comes back up here, we're bullish. And then we get that push down. All right, I'm in there. And then we can ride the wave up. So this is not what I'm waiting for here for today. Let's see if we get something like that. It's kind of looking like it's so far that has the potential. It has the potential. But you don't want to marry potential. Just let the market, let it set up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay. Looking at dollar pairs, so the majors, Australian, it was really bearish. Euro, a little bit more bullish, and then it just took out these highs. Maybe it wants to set up for distribution or something later. CAD, consolidating, bullish. Yen, same thing. Pound, same thing. The yen, if you guys remember, I was looking for shorts up here with the yen. This is selling out of December 4th price action, Asian session. So this is more of a yen-focused movement. So this might happen around yen hours, like Asian session hours. If we look at the week, do we have any yen news? Not until interest rates for the yen Thursday evening. So probably wait a little longer. All right, Dow still pushing. NQ actually pushing really bearish right now. S&P about to clear those lows. So here's the thing. This is more of an intuitive thing. I'm gonna be honest. But I think S&P clears these lows while it looks like Dow is still holding up pretty well. I think Dow is going to rip after S&P clears this liquidity. I've seen that happen many, many times. So we shall see. But yeah, I'm going to send this one into the setups for today. And let's see. These already played out. Well, the long didn't play out, but you guys know what I mean. And then we have 6J. So the yen. Here is the idea. You guys have this right here. All right, saved there. No Dow sweeps yet. Okay. Or S&P. Meanwhile, we are starting to see a buildup. Like this might continue rallying. Okay. So the yen doing its thing. Only real entry that I see close by. Possible shorts with silver. Keep in mind gold structure. So I'll send silver too. But silver is really important. It really has to do with how gold's trading. Right now it looks like silver's a little bit more bullish, so I don't know if I'm going to take the sell. But just look at price action. So only take silver if gold is more bullish and if silver is kind of slower on the way there. So here, silver, I'll even note here too. Well, there goes Dow, pushing. All right, so we got the chart. Here we go. Here's my prediction, is that we start to see Dow kind of, get sustainable. And then we end up seeing S&P drop one more time. Maybe S&P clears these lows, and then it makes the move. And NQ dropped all the way down to, I think, this area that I was talking about. Where was it? No, not quite. So if you can notice, NQ is now kind of working its way back, barely getting into the structure again here, while S&P is well within the zone again, and Dow Jones is well within this zone as well. So starting to see a good shift. Here's where the market started to drop. So right now it's starting to rebalance this. Like I mentioned, now we just wait for some sort of demand. All right, the market to kind of prove, all right, hey, yeah, we're going to just, confirm that there are more buyers here. It's sustainable. And then a little dip into somewhere in here, and I would be more open to buy positions. But I want to see the market trade up here longer first. That's my approach, at least. I've been locked in here, so I haven't even looked at the chat. My bad, guys. I'm here ignoring you guys. Well, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just a little occupied, right? I feel like that's fair. All right, here we go. BTC getting close to the zone. Ooh, that's what's up. Yeah, I got caught off for a little bit, but I think we're good now. Yeah, Top Step is still on Z. Ozzy, what's good? Would you find a sell position to clear S&P lows? Would I find it? I mean, I don't go looking for it. If it's there, it's there, you know? Like, for example, here you had a big pump, and then, you know, we traded down here for a little bit, but not really. I don't have a textbook entry to sell this down there, so no, not yet. All right, let's go look at that oil. Let's go look at oil there. 4 hour on oil. Where are we getting to? Ooh, okay, hold up. So we're in pretty deep retracements on this massive oil sell-off here. Is there an oil buy that we can take advantage of here somewhere? Maybe you guys have looked at this already. I see that we had a pretty big drop off right over here, so a pretty big sell off, and then the market rallied from this zone. We traded back into the imbalance and then continued, but I think it was more of a rebalance than a mitigation. So seeing oil drop below 57, which I think is kind of where we're at right now, there might be something going on over here. But did we already play out of this? Yeah, all right, we already played out of this a couple times. So maybe oil is going to want to drop, like respect this last point of supply, something like that. But it kind of already played out of this several times. So I would say this is an ambitious trade, if anything. There's, you know, some over here, order block, imbalance. The market hasn't quite gotten to around below 56.80. There's a lot of support around here, 56.70. So I could see it. I wouldn't really be a full R trade for me if you're going to take something like this, just because we've kind of been around here. So yeah, I could see it, but also I think there's definitely some red flags. So it's not an A+ setup. Now, to go to Bitcoin, which is probably going to align with those Dow Jones buys that we're talking about. Bitcoin working its way down. Right now, we're seeing a kind of stalling out where we had this last dip before the continuation. But I am looking for a buy below, basically 86K and below. So right around here, I think you have good positions, whether you're taking it with futures or you're taking it on your own, like perpetuals, whatever. So yeah, I think it looks solid for sure. Alerts there. If that lines up with these Dow buys, then that'd be cool. Okay, Dow dropped pretty quickly into here. So it took off, and then for the last 10 minutes or so, we were working our way up. We came right back in. Sucks, but I think I'm going to stay out. This is where I would have wanted to buy. Didn't have the demand that I wanted, and I could still see S&P clearing these lows, the New York lows. It hasn't done that yet from last week. Maybe it goes for it, maybe it doesn't, but I'm going to wait for the highest confirmation. Yeah. So, cool. We'll leave it at that, guys. Stay dialed in the community, all right? And I appreciate you guys all for being here. If you enjoyed the session, you know, you can hit the like button, tell your friends. We've been on an absolute tear so far in December. There's still a lot more to the trading day, so you could still make back for that loss. But if not, then we don't. And it is what it is, which is all good. You want me to sign this? All right, who's this going to? Daniel? All right, Daniel, I don't know if you're on right now, but I'm signing your Breaking the Habit of Breaking Your Plan workbook. I know some of you guys have picked this up from the store. And yeah, man, thanks for the love. All right. What's good? Thanks for the stream. No, thank you guys for always being here, showing love. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the description if you guys are looking to take advantage of anything. Any questions, as always, ask in the exchange. And then stay dialed in on there. Any updates, we go through them on there as well. So I appreciate y'all for plugging in. For those of you that want to join the free community, you can scan what's in front of you on the left. For those of you that want more personalized trading mentorship, this is specifically if you're in that season where you're decent, you're good, you can get close to passing challenges or you're even passing them, but you're not quite getting payouts. This is more of our advanced mentorship, very hands-on, feedback focused. And then we have 3 main pillars, which is working within, working on the system, and then working on from a financial standpoint. So book a call there if that's the right fit for you. This is only for serious people, people who do want to make this a full-time commitment and a full-time income. So check that out, guys. And as always, trade one at a time, right? We're building our freedom, one trade at a time. So stay disciplined and peace.